I'm muting y'all's. Rock and roll. Oh yeah, it's Saturday, and I need more coffee. Man, that's why I'm such a poet. It's incredible. I think this is working. I always start. I think this is working. Welcome. It's the Art of Rock. It's Saturday. First and foremost, my thanks and acknowledgement to the Tongva people as the traditional landowners of Hollywood, Los Angeles. Thank you for surviving. Rock and roll. This is on Angelspit's. Every Saturday we're here, most Saturdays, on Angelspit's Twitch. Hey, you should join Angelspit's Twitch. You should fucking join up for this crap. Oh, or Angelspit's YouTube. Take your pick. Oh, wow. Anyway, this is brought to you by Angelspit's Patreon. It's there. Members are here, and I thank you. You can join for free or as little as $3 a month. Exactly, Alex. Thank you. Pick your poison. Both are not looking after artists. None of them are. Man, Twitch just changed their fucking payout system. It's bullshit. Angelspit's album Red End likes talking about things that are bullshit. Go get it. You want to fucking help me out? Get that. Oh, Alex, you got it. Thank you, Alex. Hold on. I need to, how do I pin that? I think there it is. Look at that. Oh man, I hope you like it. Thank you so much, Alex. Bless your face. Okay, how do I unpin you now? I don't know how to unpin you. Oh, there you go. Ah, Brett! Wait a minute, Brett. Whoa. Hey, whoa. Show and tell. Hold on. No. Don't run away. I don't know how to fucking turn this shit on. Jesus, how do I fucking pin you? Any minute now. Look at Carl and his amazing... I could put you in the waiting room. Oh, I fucking hate this without... There it is. Now you're on the face.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what I've done. What have I done? What the fuck have I done? God, I hate fucking this shit. Anyway, I'm gonna... Oh, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. We could talk about that a bit more in a minute. Here's Ivan, who's in LA, and I was supposed to meet up with Ivan, and I didn't. Thank you both so much for fucking supporting that. Anyway, that's the new album, and it's all good fun. And it's madness. If you want to get more madness, the Industrial Incisions playlist is El Doperino. Go listen to it. There's a whole bunch of bands on there that you might like to know about. There's a whole bunch of bands that you might want to know about. Every Wednesday night, deep dive into fucking bloody Vulture Culture synths. There it is. Go join. I guarantee you will get happiness. Or drunk, or not drunk, but gear horn. I'm wearing the t-shirt. Yay. Wow, I'm really so fucking together today, aren't I? Right? Non-stop music from the bleeding edge, from whence afterwards we shall be going. If you want to get involved, send them an email and they will play your music. There's a plus at the end of that. I'm just not having a good day. G'day, Ivan! And they've also launched a Patreon. We're going to go over there. Boom. Go get their Patreon. If you want to make America bloody fixed and you're concerned about how things are going, join Indivisible, because it's your right as an American and your duty to get involved. If you're tired of a website full of algorithms, join darkmusic.net. They don't have algorithms. They just have humans. If you feel like there's too much internet going on in your life, Media Addicts Anonymous, we have to take this seriously now. They are there to help. Today we are joined by the amazing Mr. Alex. We are joined by the amazing Mr. Brett from Demon Hate. We are joined by... Hold on, I should make this fucking gallery. We amazing Mr. Adam Bomb, who is in the chat. Ivan, who's in a motel room in LA, and Carrie, who's normally in here but she's not, and Eric, who's normally here and he's not, and of course overseeing everything is MTV TV, and we are joined by the most illustrious co-host, Raziel.
Hey man.
Thanks, man. Welcome to the Art of Rock. Top of the list, vocoding. We're going to talk about vocoding, and Ivan, I'm going to try and meet up with you at some point. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see, because Ivan's in LA. Vocoding. Does anybody want to ask a question? I've got a lot to talk about fucking vocoding. Who wants to? Brett, ask away, my darling.
Yeah. So, since I brought this up to start with, I'll just go ahead and kind of kick it off, I guess, in that regard. So I was playing with it the other night, playing with a software vocoder. It's a VST. Obviously, you can do carrier and modulator. And we kind of started to touch on, picking the pitch and everything like that, and when you don't. And what I'm finding is that the sound coming from the vocoder gets really thick, really quick, and it becomes very it wants the full spectrum. So I figured I would kick it off with that as a problem and see what there is in terms of experience.
I know I'm muted. All right. Hi there, everyone. Give me a minute. Does anybody else want to jump in first? Because I got so much to say about this shit. Go, Razi, go.
If we're starting with the topic of the amount of space that the vocoded sound takes up, I suppose that the modulator is less spectrally to worry about with that as far as its lows and highs, but it does, of course, influence your carrier. If it has a lot of lows, the carrier's lows are going to come through. If it has a lot of highs, the carrier's highs. And if it's very full spectrum and the carrier is very full spectrum, you're going to end up with not as many holes to poke the rest of the music through in the background. If you're doing a big sound like a drum loop as the modulator, which is kind of my go-to for it, and maybe a thick synth pad of super saws following the chord progression or something as your carrier, that'll not leave a lot of space. But the most software vocoders have a option for how many bands you're vocoding, you're testing and modulating, and also the width of those bands and if they're peaky or broad, so the crossover of each of the bands. So if you end up, like, say, down with only 4 bands and they're narrow, you're going to end up with a thinner, more forgiving kind of sound. And if you end up with, say, 32 bands or something, and they have a broad crossover from band to band, it's going to end up sounding more like the modulator source. Basically, the fidelity to the modulator source is going to be more and more accurate. And just keep in mind when you're doing this, the idea of vocoders, of voice transcoding in the first place, in the long distance telephony kind of original purpose, was to make it take less space. So if you think about it, fewer bands, narrower bands, responding pretty close to the original will render that eerie fidelity that you're looking for, but leave more space. So my go-to for thinning it out is fewer bands, thinner, and sometimes faster reaction time in each of those bands that we're doing the fuckery with. Million other ways, but I think I'm going to stick with that as my go-to for fat to thin sort of variation.
Thank you very much. I always love how your answers are very technical, which I know I do really appreciate.
Thank you.
I do appreciate that very much. I put 2 links in everywhere for a blipvert I did on vocoders. Vocoders are really interesting. So first thing I think you need several signals going into as the modulator, as the carrier wave, I'm going to say the synth pad. So the synth pad is what your voice pushes through to make it sound like a Cylon. So the synth pad that you're going to use big buzzy thing. The more harmonically rich, the better it is. But it's really, I think it's important to put a big high pass filter on stuff, because you might say, I don't want anything in there under 200 cycles, which is kind of like sort of, you know, kind of low in your voice, where a lot of the fundamental frequencies are. But also you've got to be really careful of the amount of fatness and everything that builds up around about 400 or 500 in the voice. So if you start pulling that out, like if you've got a vocoder that is, you want it to be like the rock star, let's groove tonight, that kind of thing, it's got a bit of lows going in there, but there's also a lot of highs in there. And the thing about you got to remember is that the vocoder is only going to be taking the sections of your voice that are already there and pushing it through the pad. So if there's no lows in your voice, and that's a really great thing, is that if you're vocoding whisper, because there's a lot more higher content in your voice. So with that pad, you might have a big fucking pad and you're going to take a big scoop out of the low mids and get rid of all the lows altogether. Then you might do something is you'll add noise, but the noise is going to be high-end noise only. So it might only exist from like a K 1000 cycles upwards, a K upwards. And it's just there, so it's going to start adding some sparkle, and you will mix that to taste. If you want something absolutely sexy, you get a big frequency modulated intense mono synthesizer sound, and that's drilling the bass, copying whatever melody you're singing. When I do a vocoder, I'll usually do a great big fat modulated huge fucking analog death mono thing with a bit of noise on it, and that's moving with the vocals in the verse. And then when it hits the chorus, I'll go into a big pad, which is talking about those pads I was mentioning before, and that noise, and that will be a massive stereo. So it goes pop like this. It just expands open. Also on the vocals, I run, because all the bullshit I use is analog. So I've got these really old, olden days graphic EQs, and you can get like, don't get them. You don't need them anymore. If you're an idiot like me and you got them on Craigslist for free, it's junk. You don't need them. You can use your fucking digital stuff just fine. Also scoop out the harsh frequencies. You might want to put a de-esser on your voice before you send it to the vocoder, because when you start hitting sibilants with higher harmonics, you're going to rip your fucking head off. I de-ess quite heavily, and compress your voice. Don't do a multi-band compressor on your voice. Just a regular compressor, because a multi-band is going to take all the different lows, mids, highs, and highs, and it's going to make them flat. And if you're pushing that through a vocoder, you're going to lose the character of it. There's another thing in vocoders called slew. And slew, usually it's called slew, is going to be controlling the time it takes to jump, for the fastness of the reaction of the vocoder, how quickly it wraps itself around your voice. And if they're more like starry pads in the chorus, you might want to make them more smoother. And there's also often there's going to be a little volume knob on each of the bands. You want to watch between 2 and 5K, because they can rip a hole in you, and also watch around 400. 400 is always fucking tight. Ask me more questions, or ask everybody. Rezi, what are your thoughts on this?
Two interesting things came to mind about the high end and sibilants, in that the traditional vocoder sound actually injected those sibilants, so that if it would trigger an S, it was a noise burst from the synthesizer. If you're not passing anything through, like if you're doing a voice as the modulator and something very full spectrum as the carrier, the bands only went up to like 4K or maybe. I think that was where it ended. So there was no true high end. So they would trigger white noise into that to simulate it, rather than modulating the carrier with it. So newer ones obviously have bands going all the way up to represent those. But if you're doing like sort of that traditional lo-fi sound, robot voice kind of stuff, you can pick a emulation that also includes that, and it goes a long way toward the, oh my God, that's that classic sound weirdness from late 70s. And the other thing that we didn't necessarily touch on is form and shift. So if you are trying to do intelligible voice speech parts, or to some extent drums will respond to this, you can change the nature of the carrier before it hits the band detectors and get it to sound very different, and thin it out or fatten it up in that way, with just shifting the predominant frequencies of the human voice a little up, a little down before it hits the detectors and changes the sound of the carrier. And you can do some dramatic changes that way too.
Yeah, thank you. Really good point. Format shifting is really good fun. And if you want it to sound like, because remember your voice is kind of here and your spectrum goes up to here. There's, the real balls of your voice, it's kind of, it's sort of here. And using a format thing, you can say, well, the frequencies that are here, I'm going to lift them up 2 octaves or an octave or something. So it's not going to sound like a chipmunk. It's going to sound different. And it's a fun thing to experiment with as well. Does anybody else have any thing they want to bring up about vocoders?
No, I think all that goes right in line with what I was running into. I mean, so obviously when I'm not dealing with the mic sitting on top of my monitor here, my voice tends to carry a lot more bass notes, and that's part of the problem here in a way is it has really amplified that. But no, there's some tips there, grabbing, like shifting that ahead of time.
Do you prep your vocals before you put them into the vocoder?
In this particular case, I have a little bit, but typically no.
Okay.
I haven't.
I would suggest pulling them in. If there's a noise floor, a lot of argument about, because those beautiful 70s vocoders are full of noise. And it's full of tape hiss and all sorts of shit. And there's a lot of argument here. But that's up to your taste. I'd be compressing it. And I'd also be already going through saying, okay, well, I don't want a whole bunch of stuff going in that lower region. That's where my voice is. Because if it's voice plus vocoder, imagine it like you're sitting in a chair and the chair is the vocoder. How deep do you sit in the chair? How much of the chair do you see? How much out of the chair? You know what I mean? If it's this great big comfy chair, this is weird, but it's the only way I can describe how I do vocoders. It's this great big comfy chair that is enveloping you. You see you clearly, but you are surrounded by this vocoder. And therefore you have to say, well, the vocoder is not going to be, in the strength of my throat region. So I'm going to be EQing that out of, as my voice goes into the vocoder, I'm pulling that out. And there's going to be a lot more highs going on in the vocoder. So I'm going to be putting that in there, even with that format moving or EQing or whatever. But compress, do not multi-band. Here's the resonance.
So this is, if I may, and I already have accidentally twice there, but I have a track on SoundCloud entitled "Everybody Writes a Vocoder Song," excerpt, sick, with excerpt spelled incorrectly. Everybody writes a vocoder song.
Good, that's good.
Thank you.
Everybody writes also, remember that what's going into it is like big pads, beautiful, like Raziel just showed us, really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hey, just big hi, by the way, to Jen and Diana and Adam and everyone who's in the chat right now. Welcome and thank you for jumping in. If you vocode your voice over a drum or over something else, not just a pad, you start getting some fascinating things, and even get your voice or a robot voice or something saying the lyrics, and then vocode yourself over that. Like, they're the most wonderful, crazy, really wild instruments that you can be pulling all sorts of glorious things from. Also, something I love doing is in tracks, like having them as a vocal background, like in the song Violence, for example, like, which is like fucking 15 years old or something. You know, while the vocal is singing, the vocals are through the vocoder. I'm just going shari, and then some will be drawn to violence, because that's the lyric. It's some will be drawn to violence, and the vocoder. So the voice calls, the vocoder responds. So it's a fun thing when you say, okay, I'm going to make the vocoder a serpent. It's a whispering serpent, and it's going to be moving around, and sometimes it will just be going asha, or something with the pads. Other times it will be replying to me when I sing, and other times in the chorus it's going to be doubling me. Treat it like it's actually a being that you're doing you're co-singing with. I'm just done with English. Fuck English today. Razzie, talk to me.
I like the more creative applications that you've gone to, and it's hard for me to sort of stick with that, but the times that I have still gone to a vocoder without sticking my voice through it and doing, you know, stuff like that has been for the groove. Like if there's a drum pattern that I'm not going to use directly in the song, the groove of that song imposed through a chord pad, you know, the modulator pings that thing, and you feel the pulses, and you feel the sort of formant balance of the drum part, but you lose the there's no kick and snare anymore. There's just pulses of your pad if you're holding chords, or scrapes if you're playing samples. But whatever you're imposing that groove upon, that sound print conveys something other than drums. It's like, yeah, there's a pulse, there's a rhythm, and it's somewhere between a drummer playing and like Bernie Worrell or something, like comping madly on a clavinet or a Hammond. Like there's a space in between those two worlds that the vocoder pulsing from a drum rhythm inhabits. I really like.
A really good point. Because that's another thing is, like, you know, in a lot of industrial music or whatever, you're drawn to arguably limited by drums that have to be really simple. You know what? You're fucking not. But you might have some crazy fucking groove going on, and it's like, well, that's probably going to be too crazy for drums. So if it's not like a loop that's sitting on top of it, take the loop and run it through a vocoder. And, you know, like you said, Rezi, if you've got like a comp like jang or whatever, like a clavy thing, and clavies are great because they're metallic and they've got a lot of high end in them. And if that's firing with, you know, a fucking funky drum loop, that's going to be exciting. And also, you know, remember that the pad that you're using doesn't just have to be going long pad. It can be going, can be doing all this fun stuff. And when you start like putting like musicality mixed with crazy fucking analog zippity doodah stuff,
if you do a staccato carrier and a drum modulator pad, yeah, the two things together, you know, staccato in that there's no sustain. It's like maybe a clav, like you said. And the drum loop and the clav have different places where they actually are sounding at the same time. You end up with that hybrid rhythmic multiplication or additive nature of the two of them together. So,
and what you could also be doing is you could, you know, obviously the clav's a MIDI thing, and you might say, well, I'm going to be going on my fucking clav, and they're going to be short 16ths. Then on all of the off 16th, I'm going to throw a pulse of noise. So it's going to be this constant thing going on, but whenever a clav isn't playing, it's a little burst of noise. Or there might be a burst of noise that's going independently of it, that's grooving along with it. So sometimes there's clav, sometimes there's noise, sometimes there's both. And when both of these things start bouncing on top of each other, hilarity ensues.
It's a little maddening to keep talking in words about the sounds that we'd be making, but in the same way that you're suggesting hard compression and multiband compression on the modulator will defeat the purpose of vocoding.
Vocal, say vocal.
Sure, the vocal or drum loop or
voice.
the thing.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing. Doing that to a rhythmic pad or modulator that has a lot of this noise built into it. Like if you have just a noisy environmental sound, compressing the hell out of that, and then not, then your vocal or drum loop that goes into it still has the dynamics.
Yeah, yeah.
All of those cruft and disgusting noises between the notes and room echo or anything on your pad or carrier will have interesting textures and events and shapes to let the the voice bring in and out with its rhythmicness. I want to do it. I want to try that.
Yeah.
Hard compression on the pad side on the modulator, or taking something that was dynamic and removing all the dynamics from it before you make it the pad on the carrier side. Huh.
That's a great idea. It is really fun, and it's fascinating how this stuff can drastically bring out the most amazing shit. And then you might say, well, why stop with vocoders? Like throw a drum loop through an envelope follower and output that to pitch.
Complex spectral filters too are sort of the evolution of the vocoder, where there are lots and lots of bands responding in lots and lots of ways rather than just 16 or 32. So there's something there.
And this kind of comes around to did anybody else want to throw in or ask questions or keep this neurological jam going? This is a good jam. So interestingly, the other day, so I'm working on Maymay's album and I'm working on the last track, which is fucking dope. And Maymay has got a vocoder in it, and Maymay's got the same kind of, they've got a TC vocoder. I've got a TC vocoder, TC Helicon. And it's technically not a vocoder, it's technically a harmonizer. So it's generating 4 voices to sing a harmony on top of you, which is great. But you can use it like it's a vocoder. And Maymay hard pitch corrected their vocal going in and then set it to automatically detect the pitch, which of course it's going to do, then automatically draw harmonies to sit on top of it regardless of the music. There's another mode in the thing where you can say play MIDI notes or listen to the music that's coming in and draw harmonic. Maymay didn't do that. Maymay created the perfect storm of these vocoder line. This has got a reason, by the way. The vocoder line is not playing the key, but it sounds so cool. And it sounds cool and wild and edgy because half the notes are right, and of the other half, probably half of them are kind of, yeah, and then this last quarter notes that, no, they are the wrong notes, but they work. So I thought, because Maymay did this on the demo vocal, and so I thought, well, if I get Maymay's final vocal and I run it through mine and same result, no. And it's a perfect storm, and it was really and there's no way I can go through that damn thing and export the MIDI or pull. I can't do it. I'm sure maybe there is, but it was really fascinating. Yeah, I think that's the one they're using. It's really fascinating how if you've got a vocoder and you start throwing weird chords in there, like you might hit a D, you sing a D, and you're going to say, I'm going to throw a D major over that. But everything else in your key is saying no, big no to the D major, big no, but you go pop. And vocoders are a great way to introduce either downright demonic or ethereal or whatever higher chord process that's sitting behind the music. And you might not hear it, but you feel it. There's something in your soul that it gives a lift to. I see the hand of the resonator.
It's funny, I'm just realizing why I was struggling to refer to voice and pad as you're urging me to do, because I've certainly, and probably the last time I used a vocoder, the vocal harmony stack that I put down was the pad and something else was the modulator. So you can actually flip that around. And even if you happen to have two things that are kind of close in timbre to each other, you can still vocode them off each other. Doesn't pick which one's the carrier, which one's the modulator, and just, mess it up. You can do interesting stuff that a normal static EQ isn't going to do, and use the vocoder as a bit of an EQ effect by raising and lowering the bands. Again, these software ones, usually it'll show low band, turn it down. Now you've got less bass, that easy. So you can do some other style. Yeah.
And there's fun things you can do as well. Is that you might have a sample of a Minimo growling or something. And if you've got a modern, although I will argue that analog vocoders are lightning fast. In fact, I don't even have to argue that they are. If you set up everything really well, you can get a growl being vocoded onto your bass line. And it's a mighty fine thing. So if you've got, you can take anything that is changing the harmonic structure of something can now act as the voice. And I like saying voice and pad because I always get confused because I'm not the sharpest fucking guy right now. Doesn't matter how much coffee I drink, I'm just not going to be. I'd like to thank Frank for denying me my sleep. Alex!
I'm not a huge vocoder user, but has anyone ever tried using the 100% wet reverb signal from the vocals as a carrier?
Yes. And it's awesome. If you're doing something with big ethereal pads, because the thing about, so I was talking about portamento and slew before, where you can be telling each band of the vocoder to be jumping up and down a bit slower so it's going to smooth stuff out. Another way you can kind of do that is by putting, although it is different, is if you put a great big or a short or a reverb on your voice. And even a chorus is, you'll hear the difference of chorusing your voice first. But if you reverb your voice first, it's going to add this beautiful cathedralic. What's the word to say it's in a cathedral? Cathedralic?
I think you coined that. That's good. Let's make a note of
Cathedralic?
that.
All right.
Sure.
Cathedralian?
I mean, I like cathedric, but I don't think that's as good as cathedralic.
Cathedralic. Yeah, that sounds like you're drilling into the Pope, though.
It's a little more aggressive.
Cathedralic sounds like an addiction.
It does. It does. Cathedralic's addiction anonymous. So what would we call that sound? That word? Whatever it is. Yes, it's going to make it more fucking grand. Fucking grand. Fucking grand shit. Hey, there you go. I like that phrase even better. Even more better. Yeah, do it. And fuck around. Like, see, although distortion's kind of weird if you put it on your voice because it's going to flatten out things a lot, and you're going to. But if you distort the pads going in, you're going to, because if you're distorting and if you're mixing like a bit of noise and a bit of this, and hey, fuck it, a bit of a drum beat, why not? If you distort all that together and make it a bit crunchy, that could be interesting. Because those higher harmonics, baby, oh yeah. Fuck with it. Here we are. Does anybody else want to jump in?
Sick mix idea for that reverb tails vocoded thing, though. If you're ever like having too much verb splashing all over the place, which I know that's impossible, so it's just a hypothetical here. But if you ever do find yourself with what seems like too much verb tails, and pick a bus, throw your main drum group onto the vocoder, put that on the verb tails, like Alex said, clean that shit right up. That'd be neat. I like it.
That would be neat. I only understood half of what you said, but I was
the
totally,
good half or the bad half?
No, it was good.
Okay.
But no, this is all really interesting because at the end of the day, fuck around and find out. Because that's the great thing about a vocoder is you're taking these two things that you're really familiar with, and what happens if I smash them together? And there's not a lot of things that can really do that. Like, I've always looked for a synth, and some of my synths have things on it where you can fucking halio collide them together, catholically collide them together. But it's like, you know, it's no real boson Higgs God molecule shit going on. Yeah, I know. Adapt, manipulate, welcome. What happens if you use a non-synth sound with vocoders? You get fucking delight. See, for example, you might go, in fact, noise is the greatest thing ever to put through a vocoder. Fucking lovely, instant fucking shit. But we were talking about drum loops, and even if it's your vocal that is vocoding a drum loop, give that drum loop a whole bunch of reverb, Alex, or a delay or something. Some really fun things start happening, and it's just a fantastic way to take it to another place. Take it to another place. I wrote that song for you just then. Yeah, I know. It's like, I don't know. I'm just genius. I don't know what it is. Oh, shit. I nearly forgot. By the way, if this is inspiring you to spend a bit of money and buy a fun piece of gear, how about you throw some money at Drake as well? Got to look after Drake. Drake's GoFundMe is still a thing. We've got to look after Drake. So does anybody else want to, speak in spell voice, Diana, using that as a vocoder and even using that as a pad and it's talking at the same rate you are and you talk over it, you get some wild effects. In fact, I think, Daft Punk did something. One of the best vocoder sounds I've ever heard was somebody talking over the Apple Fred voice, and they were vocoding Apple Fred with their voice. And it was like, that's fucking great. I love that. Does anybody else want to talk about vocoders? Man, I think there's been a national need for more fucking coffee today. Okay. Go.
Just before we move on from it, since the Speak and Spell was broached, there are at least 2 plugins that do the linear prediction encoding that Speak and Spell used. I think Permuate by the same people that make Synplant and Microtonic, Magnus Lindstrom does it, and it's fantastic. And also Speakerphone by Audio Ease or somebody, both will do the same linear predictive encoding sound of Speak and Spell for your own voice or your own samples, which is not vocoding, but it does have some of those similar components where what it does is hear your voice and does some filtering and reduction and make a crazy
I love
whatever you said. So
I want links.
pretty neat. I'll try to look that up.
Thank you. Adapt, manipulate. In answer to your question, Drake is one of our crew. He's done a lot of remixes for a lot of us. He's in Canada and he's going through some healthcare issues right now. And although the Canadian healthcare system's much better than the American version, he still does need a bit of help. So we've got to look after Drake. Because we've got to look after each other because we're all we've got now. Doesn't that suck? If you want to do something about that, go join Indivisible. Go join Indivisible. Anyway, so do we want to? Can I bitch for 30 seconds? Because you know I'm Carl and I love to bitch. So kids, every time you sent out a fucking MP3 and it goes to the fucking world, please make sure you fill in all of the fucking tags in the fucking MP3. That's your band name, the album name, the track name, who wrote it, the tempo, the ISRC number, and all that fucking shit. And put a nice little image there as well. You can, because there's things like MP3 tag, there's software you can get that's free that will allow you to put an image in there and take care of a whole bunch of ones. There's even some where you can hold the lyrics in there as a text, as a little tiny text file. Fucking keep your MP3s together, because when you send that to DJs or anything like that, DJs are often going to be looking for the tempo. And if there's a little image and there's a projector, they will throw that image to a projector. 500 pixels by 500 pixels square is a good size for a fucking thing. So there you go. Thank you. PSA from Angelspit. Does anybody else want to talk about fucking encoding fucking MP3s, or do we want to talk about an update on using ChatGPT with audio, sound design, and MIDI?
Just a quick question for you there. Do you know if DistroKid and whatnot automatically includes all that kind of stuff?
Yes, it does. And it will automatically code that stuff into the lyrics and everything into the MP3. And so does Bandcamp. But the thing about it is that when you have your own files that you are sending to DJs, whoever, you have to have a copy of the final finished mastered versions that are named the name of your band, the name of the album, the track number, the name of the track. So people, thank you, Adapt, for donating to Drake. Just so you've got your fucking house cleaning in order, because the amount of bands that don't do the fucking administration drives me crazy. It's like, hey man, I want to help you, but you didn't fucking fill in the gaps here, man. And meanwhile, they work these admin or whatever jobs, and they're all fucking, their jobs full of, putting all the little bits and bobs in the right little fucking text fields. But when it comes to their band, oh no, I don't want to do that. Fuck is your problem? It takes 20 seconds. Okay, there you go. Thank you very much. I'm such a grumpy bastard. Updating, does anybody else want to ask me any questions so I can get abusive? I just love being abusive. I'm such a bastard. Or we could talk about an update on using ChatGPT with audio, sound design, and MIDI. I'll go first. Last week, Raziel created for me thank you, Raziel. Last week, the Resonator created a John Bonham-esque MP3 file from ChatGPT, and I imported it into my thing for my song. Balls. Fucking awesome. It was great. I changed the kick, but that's only because the bass line kick and stuff. But everything else straight up. And it had a great groove. It had that Bonham caveman behind the beat thing. Oh my God, Ivan, I'm sorry. Am I boring you right now? This is terrible. I think Ivan wants to be on reverb. How's LA?
LA is being awesome right now, actually.
All right, awesome.
Really good time. I was up very late last night.
Where'd you go?
Went to the ball, the
Empire Ball.
No,
It was downtown, yeah, I know.
Labyrinth Ball.
Yeah. A friend of mine from Australia went. She said, are you going? I went, no. But I thought you were. Good fun. That's great. Maybe tomorrow afternoon. I mean, tomorrow morning, because you're leaving tomorrow afternoon. We'll see. We'll see. You're near Hollywood?
Hmm?
Are you near Hollywood?
No, we're downtown.
All right, cool. We'll figure it out. I will be in contact. So the rule is whenever you're in LA, fucking hang out with me. That's the rule. Thank you, Ivan. Okay, so yeah, the Bonham thing, bitchin', fucking love it. And now there's been, Brett, you played around with creating a loop as well this week. Tell me about that. Actual audio WAV file.
Yeah. So I'll kind of go through it. I pulled up my chat here. It really started off pretty generically. One of the things I was doing was just testing with it. So I asked it if I give it a WAV file, if it could help me modify it with effects, etc. The short answer is yes. 9 ways from Tuesday. From that, I presented it with, well, if you can do that, can you generate one from scratch? And that's where it said it could. And I said, okay, I want an original drum beat. The tempo is 132 beats a minute. Consider what you already know about the Demon Hate. I want something with a little bit of groove, but this done on a single large drum. Think big floor tom. And my idea is that this will be the pulse that the rest of the song is built around, if you will. And I needed to try to provide enough room for a lyrical track and other things that I was considering for it, right? So it gave me what sounds like a very generic mid-tom, if you will, and it was straight up 4-on-4. Bing, 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 bing. And I'm like, okay, that's not at all what I asked for. So I went back and I'm like, okay, that I literally said that is not at all what I'm after. It has no character, and I'm looking for something that sounds a lot more realistic. And think Black Sabbath meets industrial, and that's where it produced a cool sound. From there, I got this really boomy drum sound. It doesn't quite sound like a tom, and it was able to hand me both of these as WAV files. So either way, I was able to pull it into the DAW, strip out the one segment I wanted of it, lengthen it, shorten it, which says to me that this is a viable way to create new sounds. If I can continue telling it, just like I did, okay, define it further, then there's really there's really no end to that. It already understands what all the effects are. So it seems to me that I should be able to, in prompt, design the entire chain and get a tool, a piece of something else that I'm going to use with everything else.
Yeah, awesome. This blows my fucking mind. I just put in the Zoom chat massive war drums like Mad Max Fury Road, 130 BPM, 4 bars. Then I was going to write, but instead of tom-toms, chickens. And it will probably fucking do it. Does that blow your mind? Chickens in a fucking, in a cathedral. So they're all going, bark, 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 bark. But the fact that it could do that, and you're fucking doing it, he's doing it. The fact that it can do that is insane. Yeah, and I mean, like, copyright issues, and I feel people judging me now. But, you know, the amount of times that I've stood over a drummer and I've gone, make it sound like, yeah, okay, adapt, manipulate. We're talking about specifically ChatGPT 5.0, is it? Yeah, that's what we're talking about, where the rubber meets the chicken. And the why did the chicken cross the road? Because it was recording drums? I don't know. Shit writes itself. Yeah, so the thing is that because last week we created a John Bonham, Raziel created a very cool John Bonham-esque MIDI file. And now we're fucking around with the audio. And see, the other question then is, can you insert an audio, a MIDI file into it and say, I want to sound like 10,000 Orokai chanting this chorus? Can you do that?
I haven't done it, but considering it already understands effects, I don't see why not.
And yeah. That's really fascinating. There's a lot going on. Raziel, where's your brain?
Sort of for the sake of completeness and repeatability, Brett, what was your actual prompt to get audio out of it?
So right now, just playing with Carl's, I ripped it straight out of the Zoom chat. And then my prompt from there, so it literally says massive war drums like Mad Max Fury Road, 130 BPM, 4 bars, ripped straight from chat. Instead of actual drums, make them chickens. It produced a kind of pulsy thing that doesn't sound like actual chickens. It more like sounds like if chickens were playing marimbas or.
This is really amazing because
But I have
wanna-
a second that I'm trying right now.
All right. This is fascinating because A, it knows about Fury Road. B, it knows about the sound design of Fury Road, specifically Junkie XL. And C, it's really fascinating that if chickens played this, I'm really glad. I hope with audio, because you remember, like, you know, when AI generated stuff had 6 fingers, then with the days last year. I hope audio stays here for a use. Yeah, Adept, we're talking about, we want to hear the fucking war chickens. War chickens! This is about using ChatGPT as creative sound design, because if it can do this with chickens, you can say, here's my vocal and I want it to sound like this strange thing. Upload a file and tell it to do this thing with it. And then can you start saying, if this line was sung by an electric fan, what would it sound like? Or if it was sung by a blue whale, or if it was sung by an alien Cthulhu god, know what I mean? Like, this is fucking crazy. And I know Ray Kurzweil was building an AI open end into the 2700. Motherfucker wanted to do this shit where you could say, make me a whole sound set that sounds like fucking Blade Runner. And we go ping. Razi, talk to me.
Maybe Alex has something first. I think.
Oh,
his hand
Alex,
up was
your
before
fucking
mine.
hand. Talk to me. Thank you, Razi.
Hope you didn't hear my cell phone. I tried using that prompt into Suno and it didn't generate any chickens, probably because their dataset doesn't have any chicken songs. I assume.
Data set without chickens.
It's just generic cinematic drums.
Well, that sounds pretty fucking cool. You're welcome to put that in the chat, by the way. I would love to hear what regular cinematic drums sound like. Isn't it interesting that we are using the groundbreaking technology of the world that is available to us right now, and we are asking it to do shit like chickens? Where's he go?
It's a valid proof of concept.
I ignored your request about the chickens, and for some reason it's still hung up on Bonham, even though I didn't mention it today. But it took a little bit of convincing. I had to tell it was able to make audio. It was like, no, I can't make audio, about 3 times. And I was like, no, you really can, so please do. And finally it gave me a really long explanation of its synthesis tool chain because of the way I asked it nicely. But yeah, no, now I'm getting some Bonham toms out of it after a fashion. They're interesting. I think they're right up our alley though, as far as sound quality. If you want to hear a tom and what I asked for is a pattern of toms. Carl, you're muted.
Alex, for some reason I can't play your file. Fucking hate you, you fucking bitch. Not you, Alex, just the robots. Yeah, no, this is fascinating. It's interesting that it's basically creating a song. No, it's not playing it. Do I have to have an account with these pricks or something? It's not letting me play it.
Click on the image.
Oh wait, there we are. Fascinating. I love that little reverse. Isn't that so cute? I don't want baseline, you piece of shit. Sorry, Alex. It's
I didn't make it. I'm no ego is in this.
That's all right. You just told the robots. That's okay. And by the way, Ivan, when you just came out of the shadow just then, it looked really good. Really good. Oh yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah,
And
good.
it also did the reverse thing as well. Ivan, you are the evil one. No, but that's good. It's good to be the evil one. Hey, are you someone famous? Does anybody want to jump? Don't you know who I am? Don't you know who I am? That's what you got.
Would you rather me preview the request of the chickens or just play it without having listened to it?
I want you to play it without listening to it.
All
I know
right,
that
here we
you will
go.
be held responsible.
If this has any hate speech in it or otherwise, I do not support that. If it's
It
good,
won't have any
then
hate
it's something
chickens.
I wrote. So,
All right. That's
I don't really
annoying.
hear the chickens,
I
but
don't
that
hear
is
chickens.
All
your
right.
prompt.
I got it to do it.
You got chickens? Okay.
I got actual chickens.
It's okay.
Here's how I had to do it, though.
All right.
I pulled down an MP3 of what chickens sound like. I uploaded that to ChatGPT and then told it to replace all the drum noises it gave me with the chickens.
Okay.
Hold on.
Man. This is an exciting moment.
I'm going to say it downplayed the war drums aspect a bit on that one.
They sounded like angry fucking chickens, man.
Yeah, fair.
But there's
Fair.
only one chicken.
That is the first time I got it to actually do anything with the chicken. It's got an entire 5-minute sample to use, and I can keep going from here.
Yeah. Well, let's up to you. You did mention something about going on the boat today. I was making raw chickens. Isn't that fucking amazing though? It's really interesting how with ChatGPT you're gonna go. It goes, oh no, I can't do that. And it's like, no, you can. You still gotta coax it. And I can imagine it going back to Steve Jobs as ghost or someone going, what did you learn today, ChatGPT? I learned how to make chicken drums. Foundation, heavy cinematic Tom-like war drums, chickens, clucks on every eighth note plus random extra squawks sprinkled in. Result, chaotic barnyard fury meets Mad Max battle groove. Chaotic barnyard fury meets Mad Max battle groove might be the greatest byline for a band I've ever heard.
Again, this is untested. I haven't listened to the result. We only have its description, but as Carl just described, that's the chickens that Brett has are lacking in mine.
Well, they just got trippier.
I know there's more.
Oh yeah, I'm still playing. You're welcome.
That's brilliant.
So this is out there, and I hope you're going to tag it appropriately so that people can scrub through and sample these things in future, and that we hear them on hits coming in the next year or so, you know.
It's very. Alex, talk to me.
On the more creative side, has anybody used chicken sounds in a granular synthesizer?
Interesting. No.
Not yet.
Well, here we are. But that's really interesting because there's new. Thank you very much, Brett. More chicken war drums. No, because it's such a fantastic squawky sound with a lot of crazy frequencies and stuff in it that moving through it, aka PPG, fantastic. Good fun. I don't know where to go from here. Alex, your hand's still up. Talk to me.
The YouTuber and musician Ben Jordan did a really long video about how birds make their sound. I didn't watch it fully, but I thought it's really good.
Curious.
I did see that, but where they start talking about like all the ultrasonic things they can do. That was a cool ass documentary.
Did he talk about the Australian lyrebird or the mockingjay?
Oh yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Interesting.
how they produce noise was way different than how humans do.
They where my dad lives up in the mountains, they've got lyrebirds up there, and you can't tell the difference. Like between them, a chainsaw, a siren, people talking, any other bird at all. Really fascinating bird. That's the YouTube thing that I do want to watch at some point. Okay. Right. So that was just great. And what do you do? Where do you go from here? Does anybody else want to talk about anything else? We could keep talking about chicken war drums, or we could what's going on?
Well, I'm glad that I got mine to start generating audio. So thanks, Brett, for the persistence. I think that there is an interesting little space here. I remember a couple months ago, I described a scenario where you could tell your DAW how to set up a session with all the effects in place and make it ready to go. And this actually starts down that path a little bit. Set up some backing tracks for me in words. We've got a lot of ways to do that with clicks and drag and drops, but to be able to say it in words is sometimes a different part of the brain. And I think that creatively, that's a important element to be able to engage and to have this little tool to be able to do stuff directly, not quickly yet, I'll say, but directly at least. Pretty cool, because the more ways we have to get words, thoughts out of our heads, or images and sounds out of our heads, without a lot of, interacting with the tool and just saying the things. Anyway, it's a different path. I don't know if it's better or worse, but it certainly is a different path toward getting a sound.
Yeah,
Kind of cool.
totally agreed. It's really fascinating. It's very fascinating. I was talking more on AI stuff. I was talking to a friend yesterday. I ate a burger yesterday. I haven't eaten a burger in like years. I feel like 5 years or something. Yeah, go me. And it was great. So I had a fucking burger in a fucking diner. And we were talking about like bios and band logos and all of that stuff. And it's an interesting conversation where you can have a conversation like this with an AI, and you can be saying, well, this is my band sound, da 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 da, and it's still not. Isn't it funny how everybody with AI keeps saying it's not there yet? It's not there yet. That's the phrase everyone uses, because it's not there yet. But it's a great place to start, and it's interesting that I can get more creative output contribution from an artificial intelligence than I can from a lot of people. Because when you ask somebody, oh, what's your sound like? What is your, we're talking about logos and fonts and colors. Oh, no idea. They don't know. Because it's difficult to ask this of yourself. It's really hard for you to say, I'm trying to figure out, what does my band look like? What does the logo of my thing look like? Because you're so heavy in this thing, it's really hard to go, it's this, It only wants you to think it is not there yet, but it is there. That's absolutely true. Alex,
Well, how did you decide on your colors? This not just you, Carl, but everyone. How did you decide on your aesthetics or your colors?
well, I think that the really important thing, he said, grabbing his Pantone book, the really important thing is you have to, I believe it's very important to be true to yourself. And it's very important to be, as far as fashion and look and everything else, to be who you are, but amp it up a little bit or quite a bit, so that if you were going to go shopping for a cool jacket for a photo shoot, it's something that strikes your eye, because the character who you are is a higher version of you. It's you amplified. It's you in rockstar mode. And that's the same thing with the lyrics and everything. So you already are the person who you're trying to be and who you're trying to become. As far as the colors go, and I think this is really important, you have to know the Pantone. This is a Pantone book. And the great thing about the Pantone book is it's actually there in front of you, and it's printed on really good quality stuff. So you can accurately see what your color is. Angelspit's color is Pantone 186C. Right there. That's Angelspit's specific red. We have used 185 before, which is called Fire Engine Red, but 186 is called Chicago Red, and it's slightly off. Slightly darker. There's other versions of that, but they have more orange in them or more blue. But the Angelspit one that I've settled on is a really pretty color. So if I go to a printer and I say it's Pantone 186, if I'm checking my a print, I will sit the Pantone book next to it because I know that that is exactly that I have requested it to be printed is exactly 186, and it fits pretty close. It's very important to have that quality. I think it is important to have the same colors throughout your career. I chose red because I like red. When I look around here, there's a whole bunch of 186 going on. I just like red. My phone, that's almost Pantone 186. Curtains, my coffee mocha pot, my couch, 186. I'm just drawn to that color. The color makes me feel alive and electric. So what color makes you feel alive and electric? And if you say purple, there's a lot of purples and there's a lot of reds. So you've got to make sure you find your purple and your color specifically. Because you might print t-shirts and you can say to a printer, I'm looking for Pantone 186 or whatever my color is. And my advice is, sure, it's going to be black, sure, it's probably going to be gray, and it's going to be your color. Some people have 2 colors, don't go 3. Too much. 2 colors and they need to work well together. They've got to be matched. You already know what it is. You already know what, you've got it. You've already got it all. Brett, I'm so sorry to keep you waiting. Talk to me. What do you got?
Oh, good. I just figured I'd share as well. Yeah, with me, the symbol here is well, it actually just needs Brett. The story behind it is literally when I was a kid. I was in art class, had a homework project. They said you can draw anything you want. Put a lot of detail into this whole great big pedestal thing, and it looked naked, so I just scrawled this. And what it is it's 2 inverted W's. My last name is Welch, where it's 1 regular W and then an inverted W. I stuck them together, and because it was the 80s and lines were drawn through all band names and all things, I struck a damn line through it, and it looked cool. Well, I got an F. They said it was a religious symbol. And so I tattooed it to my leg, turned it into my band symbol, and it's been with me ever since. It's a fuck you.
That's great. That's excellent. I love that. That's empowering. My grade 8 teacher said I'll probably never work in music. What did she say? Dad always brings that up. And every time he sees her, he reminds her. Yeah. Dad's such a cunt. Anyway.
I'll say colors. I've almost always worn all black. I just don't like it. And I'm a redhead. So I figured that by itself was a warning to nature, and I just kept with it.
That's perfect. That's absolutely. Do you have a specific red, or because I do notice?
As long as it's striking,
right?
That's the more characteristic thing. Come from the shadows and be that thing.
Excellent. So FYI, your Pantone is probably 185, and that's fire engine red. When it's put up against a black, is the most striking. It's a super high contrast electric yield. Awesome. Something came up also with the and remind me to talk about sigils. So Diana, in answer to your question, but what shade? You got to figure that out. You just got to go. You might go to a shoe shop and there's a pair of boots. Oh my God, they're purple, and it just goes zing. You'll feel it, and you take a photo of that color every time you see it. Oh my God, I love that color. Take a photo. The funny thing, we were talking briefly about like the logo yesterday, and I'm glad, Brett, you brought up your logo, is that I think it's important to have on your logo on as many things as possible. And I think it's important to decide what your font is and try to go with that font for as many years as you possibly can. It's just a marketing thing. And if not that font, then a symbol of font. I try to do a font for each album. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. And this is a part of the fun of it. You just, when you're looking for these ideas, go to an art gallery. Take photos of street art. Street art's the best. Or take photos of billboard posters or anything at all that ignites your mind. Because if it ignites your mind enough to pull your photo out and take a click, it'll ignite someone else's mind too. This is a fun thing. Does anybody else want to jump in at this point? Okay. Does anybody else want to talk about anything else? Or, I mean, like, we could call this early. I was told that I should. Maybe? If there's no concepts floating around. Anyone? Nothing? Okay, I'm seeing tumbleweeds.
AI chickens, man, really kind of derailed me.
I know. It's like, where do you go after war chickens?
You should see the file names on my desktop now. You guys.
Yeah. I tell you what, we're going to call it. It's short and sweet, but we carried a lot today. Further we go in this great quest of the AI thing, because it's very fascinating. How do we use this creatively? It's very, very fascinating. Anyway, this is The Art of Rock, and we're going to bugger off. So, Diana, we're going to be reading very shortly. Every Saturday, we are here on Angelspit's Twitch. Please like and subscribe to Angelspit's Twitch or Angelspit's YouTube. Oh, yeah. This is made possible with Angelspit's Patreon. Again, I thank you. It's either it's free or it's $3 a month or whatever you want to pay. Excuse me. Angelspit's new album is called Red End. I'm very fucking happy with it. Go fucking crazy on that shit. Patreon members got a free copy. And you can listen to it for free on streaming services. Speaking of streaming services, the Industrial Incisions playlist has got a whole bunch of really fucking cool shit that you need to hear. Go check it out. Wednesday nights, Vulture Culture is going to do a super fucking deep dive on fucking awesome shit. And you need to be watching that stuff if you love synthesizers, because who doesn't? I send a big thank you shout out to everybody who was a part of this today. Fucking rock stars. And also, Razi, thank you for co-hosting.
It's always a pleasure. Hey, Carl, thanks for having us on the show every week. Really love to do this.
It is fun, especially when we talk about war chickens. Remember, if you are concerned about your beautiful country and you want to do something about it legally and within the framework of your constitution, join Indivisible. Darkmusic.net, great place to go if you want to get some fucking hang out with humans but without an algorithm. And if you're using too much media, fucking that shit right there will bloody help you fucking deal with that shit. Did I honestly do that? And remember, go look after Drake. Got a couple of bucks, look after Drake. If you're watching anywhere else, we are now going to raid to MTV TV. It's here. Let's go get some MTV TV, and I guarantee you're going to find a band that you bloody love. So Diana, if you can sit that read out for us. Oh, this is short and sweet. I covered a lot. Hey Adam, thank you for joining y'alls and all that jazz. Intended for mature audiences. What is? I don't know what that means. Let me know when you've rated. And
Rated on mine.
There you go.
all right. Well, thank you for being part of this, and we're going to